Hello and welcome back to OmniFit TV. This is your host, Omar speaking. Today's video is about Maurizio Pochettino. Before we get into Poch's first day as Chelsea manager, I'd like to give my opinion or my thoughts in general on this past season. Now, we all know as Chelsea fans that it was basically hell on ice. Now, the main point, or the breaking point, so to speak, that made it even harder to watch, and for the first time in my life made me not even want to be able to follow my team on a consistent basis, was the fact that they had lost their passion for the game. Having your players struggle to make decisions on the pitch, having them struggle with fitness or consistency levels in terms of quality, with injuries, with anything that bears the fruit of frustration in a combative level for the sake of progression, for the sake of forward momentum, that's normal. That's good. But watching them lose the passion that they had on the pitch and struggle, both in the locker room, due to the number of players we had in our squad, due to the fact that we couldn't even fit most of our squad in the training ground, due to the fact that most of them couldn't even fit in the locker rooms, it gets awkward. It gets very awkward after a certain amount of time. And you start to realize that there's a level of complacency that starts sinking in. And I've never seen that happen to a team playing at the top level as a fan. I believe at one point Chelsea were the lowest scoring team in the top 4 tiers of English football, which is unheard of to me. That's a record I don't ever want to break again. And the thing about Poch's appointment is the fact that he managed Tottenham, and I'm not really throwing shade here. I'm trying to just outline it because he managed a team that didn't really help him on a grassroots level in terms of scouting, in terms of buying players that he could possibly need, in terms of helping him push for a proper charge in the Champions League, despite the fact that he reached the final. Poch entered through the club's doors, and did what he did with the players he had at his disposal, and left. He brought the absolute best out of them. Poch is proof that a situation as difficult as that, and bear in mind, the reason Tottenham weren't under the same level of scrutiny we are is obviously because they don't necessarily, achieve success on such a level. So if you were to focus on how good they had it, you'd also realize that they were inconsistent. Extremely so as well. To spend multiple seasons with a good manager and not be able to win the title despite multiple charges, you have to start paying attention to the finer details and reading between the lines there. And obviously, with Daniel Levy's reputation being quite possibly the worst of any Premier League owner currently, after Mike Ashley having already sold Newcastle to the Saudis, it's an understatement. The best part about this, however, is the fact that Chelsea's owners managed to actually learn from their mistakes, to stop interfering in footballing matters, and to supposedly leave them to the people behind, the footballing decisions at the club currently. They don't seem to be dipping their toes into things they shouldn't. They're focusing on the business side of things, which is the way it should be. Poch is going to come in. He's realizing that he has a certain amount of players in a squad. He's probably been following everything and getting everything detail-wise outlined to him by whoever's been working at the club and overseeing the transfers, because we're having a massive clear out, an exodus of sorts. And I'm sure he's looking at this and thinking, okay, this is promising. I'm walking through these doors. I'm going to meet these people and they're going to listen to me. And I do believe that he's probably having some of the actual input that's being handed over to the directors, the football directors like Win Stanley, in order to secure the signings that he could possibly need. That's if he does believe that he needs more signings, excuse me, and thinks that the players he has at his disposal currently won't be enough. I do believe that Poch is at heart a pragmatist, which is perfect for our current situation. But at the same time, here's the difference between Chelsea and Spurs at the current, at the current time of speaking. Despite the fact that both clubs have required more pragmatic managers due to differing circumstances and contexts within the league, we're going to do the one thing Tottenham couldn't. We're going to elevate him. And again, this isn't me throwing shade, although I do hate them. But we're going to provide more room for that potential to make its way out, be it behind closed doors, in the locker rooms, and on the pitch, and even off of it. The man is passionate, and that's the one thing I love about him the most. He cares about what he's doing. He's got conviction in regards to how he sets about setting up his teams. He's going to drill these players through the wall physically. And watching him in particular, like the one scene that always stands out for Poch, and for me as a fan, was his reaction to defeating Ajax in the Champions League semi-final and reaching the Champions League final for Tottenham. His celebrations with the fans on that day, on that night, were quite honestly some of the most intense I've seen. And you could tell that he really enjoyed his time there. You'll never really know what he struggled with at the club, and I think that's a good thing to an extent. But if we can do even better to provide him with more of what he requires, then we'll suffer a lot less and we'll probably achieve a lot more. And that's what I have to say on the matter. Despite the fact that we may not know exactly how this is going to go, if it's going to have a bumpy start, if we're going to be efficient off the bat, we're going to wait and see. And I think that people should just shelve their opinions for the most part, despite the fact that it does look good, and focus on the positives, but not be too delusional about it. And that's it for today's video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you think that Poch is going to do well, if you think he's going to do well outright, or if you think we're going to struggle at first, if this season of transitional instances is going to resume, or if last season is going to bleed out onto this season. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I've realized that 96% of our viewership is not subscribed to the channel, so I don't know what you guys are waiting for. Just go ahead and subscribe, because we post content on a daily basis, and I will see you next time the whistle blows. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching.